Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye नष्टप्रायेषु अपत्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यं मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24, Renunciation of Kardama Muni. So, yesterday we have seen very beautiful words. And here Brahmāji is appreciating Kardama Muni in following words. And Srila Prabhupada writes very, very important purport also to this. Lord Brahma said, "My dear son Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instruction without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me." And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that how one should honor the instruction of the spiritual master word by word, in toto, without cheating. And very, very powerful purport Srila Prabhupada writes here about how to respect one's spiritual master by following the instructions. Text 13. एतावत्येव शुश्रूषा कार्या पितरिपुत्रकै बाढमित्यनुमन्येत गौरवेण गुरोर्वचः. Translation.
Translation: Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir." Purport: two words in this verse are very important. One word is pitari and another word is guruha. The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument, yes. There should be no instance in which the disciple or the son says, "This is not correct, I cannot carry it out." When he says that, he is fallen. The father and the spiritual master are on the same platform because a spiritual master is the second father. The higher classes are called Dvija, twice born. Whenever there is a question of birth, there must be a father. The first birth is made possible by the actual father, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Sometimes the father and the spiritual master may be the same man, and sometimes they are different men. In any case, the order of the father or the order of the spiritual master must be carried out without hesitation with an immediate yes. There should be no argument. That is real service to the father and to the spiritual master. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur has stated that the order of the spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciples. As a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instruction of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect. This is confirmed in the Upanishads. The import of Vedic instructions is revealed automatically only to one who has implicit faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and in his spiritual master. One may be materially considered an illiterate man, But if he has faith in the spiritual master as well as in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the meaning of scriptural revelation is immediately manifested before him. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji is glorifying Kardama Muni. Sons ought to render the service to their father exactly to this extent. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport that two words are very important, Pitari and Guru or Vachaha. So Vachan of father and Vachan of Guru, father means father and mother both, they have to be taken very seriously. Srila Prabhupada further explains that the son or disciple should accept the words of the spiritual master and father without hesitation. Right. And we see this to the extent Lord Ram, just one day he was coronated as about to be coronated, announced that there will be Rajabhishek and he will be the next king. And the next day, within 12 hours, Lord Ram is, departing for the Vana, for the forest, accepting the instruction of the father. In the Bhagavad Gita purport also, Srila Prabhupada writes that, very, very early chapter, the first chapter, 5th, 6th shloka, Prabhupada writes there, that one should not unnecessarily argue with one's superior. And this is the same thing Brahmaji is glorifying in the personality of Kardama Muni. Srila Prabhupada says actually, father and spiritual master are not different. A person is supposed to be a Dvija, and Dvija means two births. One is a material birth, so the body which is given by the material parents. And then there is the second birth. Second birth is a spiritual birth, that is spiritual initiation. And therefore, material birth and the spiritual birth both are considered as father. Sometimes they both may be same, and sometimes they may be different. But it is very important, Prabhupada says, that one has to follow the instructions of one's spiritual master as one's life and soul. And Srila Prabhupada is writing this and personally following this, right? So Prabhupada says this particular statement in Bhagavad Gita changed his entire life. Prabhupada writes that one has to carry the instruction of one's spiritual master as one's life and soul. Just like the life cannot be outside the body, similarly, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instruction of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect, although the disciple personally may have many imperfections. And there are many, the Shastric evidences for this. Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. And further Prabhupada says, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande. So, Sri Gurum Deenatarinam. So one has to take shelter of the spiritual master and instructions of the spiritual master accordingly. Father also in the same category of spiritual master, one has to respect father as one is respecting spiritual master. One simple way of showing respect is, if we are staying separate, then calling parents, frequently. Of course, it depends on a lot of other things, time, place, circumstances, personality types, and everything else. But this is also something which is very important thing, that at least no one should call one's parents as comfortably, as frequently as possible, according to the situation specific, right? Text 14. Ima duhitara satya tavavatsa sumadhyamam sargametam prabhavai svai bruhanyin shanti anekadha. Translation.
Lord Brahma then praised Kardama Muni's 9 daughters, saying, all your thin-waisted daughters are certainly very chaste. I'm sure they will increase this creation by their own descendants in various ways. Purport. In the beginning of creation, Brahma was concerned more or less with increasing the population. And when he saw that Kardama Muni had already begotten 9 nice daughters, he was hopeful that through the daughters, many children would come who would take charge of the creative principle of the material world. He was therefore happy to see them. The word Sumadhyama means a good daughter of a beautiful woman. If she is thin-waisted, a woman is considered very beautiful. All the daughters of Kardama Muni were of the same beautiful features. Hare Krishna.
Imam duhitara satyas. So he's saying that, my dear Kardama, you have 9 daughters who are sumadhyama, very beautiful 9 daughters you have, and they are very chaste. Their mother was very beautiful, Devahūti, she was also very chaste, and the same qualities are percolating to the daughters. And the purport Srila Prabhupada writes, Brahmaji's major concern was how to increase the population, praja. And that's why, as soon as he heard that Kardama Muni has these 9 daughters, and through these 9 daughters, Brahmaji assured that he will be very happy to see these 9 daughters get married and expand the praja and fill the universe with many, many living entities. So Brahmaji also, when his task is there of expanding the praja inside, he also faced many challenges. Like Daksha had, the 10,000 sons, and they were all made into brahmacharis by Narad Muni. Then he had 1,000 sons, they also made into brahmacharis. And Daksha was thinking how to increase praja, and there was a big fight, in a sense, altercation between Daksha and Narad Muni. Now he is happy that he has this 9 daughters who will be taking charge of expanding praja in the universe. Text 15. Atatvam rishimukhyebhya yathaशीlam yatharuchi atmaja parideyaidya vistrutnishi yashabhuvi. Translation.
Therefore, today please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages with due regards for the girls' temperaments and likings, and thereby spread your fame all over the universe. Purport. The 9 principal rishis or sages are Marīci, Atri, Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhṛgu, Vasishtha, and Atharva. All these rishis are most important, and Brahma desired that the 9 daughters already born of Kardama Muni be handed over to them. Here 2 words are used very significantly, Yathashilam and Yatharuchi. The daughters should be handed over to the respective rishis not blindly, but according to the combination of character and taste. That is the art of combining a man and woman. Man and woman should not be united simply on the consideration of sex life. There are many other considerations, especially character and taste. If the taste and character differ between the man and woman, their combination will be unhappy. Even about 40 years ago, in Indian marriages, the taste and character of the boy and girl were first of all matched, and then they were allowed to marry. This was done under the direction of the respective parents. The parents used to astrologically determine the character and taste of boy and girl, and when they corresponded, the match was selected. This girl and this boy are just suitable and they should be married. Other considerations were less important. The same system was also advised in the beginning of the creation by Brahma. Your daughters should be handed over to the rishis according to taste and character. According to astrological calculation, a person is classified according to whether he belongs to the godly or demonic quality. In that way, the spouse was selected. A girl of godly quality should be handed over to a boy of godly quality. A girl of demonic quality should be handed over to a boy of demonic quality. Then they will be happy. But if the girl is demonic and boy is godly, then the combination is incompatible. They cannot be happy in such a marriage. At the present moment, because boys and girls are not married according to quality and character, most marriages are unhappy and there is divorce. It is foretold in the 12th canto of Bhāgavatam that in this age of Kali, married life will be accepted on the consideration of sex only. When the boy and girl are pleased in sex, they get married, and when there is deficiency in sex, they separate. That is not actual marriage, but the combination of men and women will like cats and dogs. Therefore, the children produced in the modern age are not exactly human beings. Human beings must be twice born. A child is first born of a good father and mother, and then he is born again of the spiritual master and the Vedas. The first mother and father bring about his birth into the world. Then the spiritual master and Vedas become his second father and mother. According to the Vedic system of marriage, for producing children, every man and woman was enlightened in spiritual knowledge. And at the time of their combination to produce a child, everything was scrutinizingly and scientifically done.
Brahmaji now suggests, he says that therefore, please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages according to the girl's temperaments and the likings. Yatha Shiram, Yatha Ruchi. And thus they will spread your fame all over the universe. So he is going to become the father-in-law of the 9 greatest of the personalities. Who are these personalities? The 9 principal sages who are to be married to the daughters of Kardama Muni and Devahūti. They are Marīci, Atri, Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhṛgu, Vaṣiṣṭha, and Atharva. So these are the great sages. And these Prabhupada says these daughters are handed over not blindly or just making a very, very superficial match. The height is matching, weight is matching, and that kind of a match. There is a very deep considerations of according to their combination of character and the taste. So character and the taste means, Prabhupada says, Yatha Shilam, Yatha Ruchi. What it simply means is that they were proper astrological calculations and Kundali is matched. And then only this marriage is taking place. Prabhupada says, astrologically determining the character of the boy and the girl is very important. And then the match should be given. Nowadays, the match generally happens, the Kundali comes last. People will scroll, people will filter the proposals based on the CTC. So if you filter the proposal based on the CTC, then, those kind of results also you are going to get based on the CTC, right? Of course, there are certain considerations and we are not saying they are not important, but the first primary important thing is, Prabhupada says, is that there should be Yatha Shilam, Yatha Ruchi. The same system was given, why our dharma is called as Sanatana Dharma, because the same system of astrologically matching the Kundali was given in the beginning of creation, and now the same system is prevalent even till today, right? And this is why the dharma that we follow is called as Sanatana Dharma or Vedic Dharma. Prabhupada says, according to the astrological calculations, a personality is having different gana. Somebody is Deva Gan, somebody is Manushya Gan, somebody is Rakshas Gan. And similarly, there are, so the match has to happen accordingly. And one should go to a suitable astrologer and then do the match. And then one can go ahead with the marriage, considering the other considerations, right? In the Kali Yuga, the condition is going to be deteriorating. In the 12th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, where there is a description of Kali Yuga, the married life is being explained as Dampatye Abhiruchir Hetu. The Dampati life, the married life, will be simply based on the sense gratification. And how much pleasure I am getting in this marriage, how much pleasure somebody else is getting in this marriage. And if there is no pleasure in the marriage will be terminated. And this is, Prabhupada says, this is the condition of Kali Yuga. And then people are living like cats and dogs, and therefore the progeny which is coming out of such marriage is not a very suitable progeny. It is Varna Sankara. But person is ideally supposed to be twice born. The first birth is by their natural mother and father. The second birth is by the enlightenment by the spiritual master. And this is how one can actually perfect one's life in spiritual enlightenment. And that's why the samskara of the child began even before the birth of the child. It was, the matchmaking was very carefully determined. Then the time of conception was very carefully determined. Very scrutinizingly and scientifically, the Garbhadan samskar is done. And then naturally, a very good progeny can be expected. So this is how Brahmaji is instructing Kardama Muni. Text 16. Vedahamadyam purusham avatirnam swamayaya bhutanam shevadim deham bibhranam kapilam mune. Translation.
O Kardama, I know that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead has now appeared as an incarnation by his internal energy. He is the bestower of all that is desired by the living entities, and he has now assumed the body of Kapila Muni. Purport. In this verse, we find the words Purusham Avatirnam Swamayaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is everlastingly, eternally the form of Purusha, the predominator or enjoyer, and when he appears, he never accepts anything of this material energy. The spiritual world is a manifestation of his personal internal potency, whereas the material world is a manifestation of his material or differentiated energy. The word Swamayaya, by his own internal potency, indicates that whatever the Supreme Personality of a Godhead descends, he comes in his own energy. He may assume the body of a human being, but that body is not material. In Bhagavad Gita, it is therefore clearly stated that only fools and rascals, mudhas, consider the body of Krishna to be the body of a common human being. The word Shevadhim means that he is the original bestower of all the necessities of life upon the living entities. In the Vedas also, it is stated that he is the chief living entity and that he bestows all the desired necessities of other living entities. Because he is the bestower of the necessities of all others, he is called God. The Supreme is also a living entity. He is not impersonal. As we are individual, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also individual, but he is the supreme individual. That is the difference between God and the ordinary living entities.
Now Brahmaji, he says, O Kardama, I know that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared in his own internal potency in your house. He is the bestower of all desire of the living entities and has assumed the form of Kapila Muni, Bibhranam Kapilam Muni. So this is Brahmaji. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the appearance of the Lord is Swamayaya. So when the Lord appears, Lord doesn't have material body. Living entity has a body, Deha and Dehi is different. That is not the case with the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord comes in his own form and he appears, appears. Somebody may say, if the Lord appears in the spiritual body, how the Lord grows in the spiritual body, right? Like we see, there is a Balakrishna, and then there is a Krishna who is tending the calves, and then Krishna is also growing. So the form of the Lord is eternal, and it is simply being reflected in those past times. Okay, just like the sun is sun, but the morning sun appears, very soothing and reddish. The midday sun appears very hot. One cannot even put one glance also at the midday sun. Evening sun, setting sun appears again very, the reddish and very soothing to look at. So it is not that the sun is changing dresses. Okay, sun is wearing the red dress in the morning and then, bright dress in the afternoon and again red dress in the night. No, the sun is sun. But the sun is reflected in our life in such a way that it appears that there is a morning sun, there is evening sun, there is a midday sun. No, sir, sun is sun. Similarly, the pastimes of the Lord, they are reflected in the universe, they are enacted in the universe in such a way that it appears that the Lord is growing, right? But the Lord is eternal, just like the sun is non-changing, right? And this happens with Swamayaya, by the internal potency of the Lord. Not only the Lord, Prabhupada says, when his appearance takes place, anything, there is nothing to do with the material energy. The Lord's paraphernalia, the dham of the Lord, the river of the Lord, like Yamuna, the hill of the Lord, like Vrindavan, associates of the Lord, he comes with his entire entourage. And that's why you will see some amazing things happening when there is an appearance of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because those amazing things will be completely beyond the material laws because they are not material things, right? Sometimes you may hear a mountain which is like 80 miles high, and we'll wonder, "Arey baapre, how this 80 miles high mountain is there in Krishna book?" 80 miles, nahi, 8 billion miles high mountain can be there because that is coming from spiritual world. When the Lord's appearance, he has nothing to do with the material energy. People who do not understand this, they deride the Supreme Lord. And that's why Bhagavad Gita says, Avajananti mam mudha, manushim tanumashrita, param bhava majananto. That they are unable to know the param bhava of the Supreme Lord, and therefore what they do? Avajananti, they will deride the form of the Lord. And this is how, but one should know the form of the Lord, the personality is the self-same personality who is actually supremely individual and eternal. Prabhupada quotes here, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidadhati Kama. No doubt that the living entity is individual, but the Supreme Lord is supremely individual. This is very important. Text 17. Jnana Vijnana Yogena Karmana Muddhananjata Hiranyakesha Padmaksha Padmamudra Padambuja. Translation.
By mystic yoga and the practical application of knowledge from the scriptures, Kapila Muni, who is characterized by his golden hair, his eye just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bear the marks of lotus flowers, will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in this material world. Purport. In this verse, the activities and bodily features of Kapila Muni are very nicely described. The activities of Kapila Muni are forecast herein. He will present the philosophy of Sankhya in such a way that by studying his philosophy, people will be able to uproot the deep-rooted desire for karma, fruity activities. Everyone in this material world engages in achieving the fruits of his labor. A man tries to be happy by achieving the fruits of his own honest labor, but actually he becomes more and more entangled. One cannot get out of this entanglement unless he has perfect knowledge or devotional service. Those who are trying to get out of the entanglement by speculation are also doing their best. But in the Vedic scriptures, we find that if one has taken to the devotional service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness, he can very easily uproot the deep-rooted desire for fruitive activities. Sankhya philosophy will be broadcast by Kapil Muni for that purpose. His bodily features are also described herein. Dhyana does not refer to ordinary research work. Dhyana entails receiving knowledge from the scriptures through the spiritual master by disciplic succession. In the modern age, there is a tendency to do research by mental speculation and concoction. But the man who speculates forgets that he himself is subject to the four defects of nature. He is sure to commit mistakes. His senses are imperfect. He is sure to fall into illusion, and he is cheating. Unless one has perfect knowledge from disciplic succession, he simply puts forth some theories of his own creation. Therefore, he is cheating people. Jnana means knowledge received through disciplic succession from the scriptures. The Vijnana means practical application of such knowledge. Kapila Muni's Sankhya system of philosophy is based on Jnana and Vijnana.
Very beautiful verse this is. We'll just recite it once. Jnana Vijnana Yogena
Jnana Vijnana Yogena
Muttaranjata
Karmanam Uddharanjata
Maksha
Hiranyakesha Padmaksha
Padambuja.
Padmamudra Padambuja.
These and the bodily features of Kapila Muni are now described very nicely by Brahmaji here. By mystic yoga and the practical application of knowledge, Jnana and Vijnana, Kapila Muni, now how is he Kapila Muni? What he will do? Kapila Muni will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in the material world. Okay, very powerful. What he will do is he will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work. This is the fruitive work here specifically. This is not about the one engaging in one's varnashram activities. This is the fruitive work. And what is the bodily feature of Kapila Muni? He is characterized by his golden hair. Jata Hiranyakeshah. Okay. So his eyes are just like the lotus petal, Padmakshah, and his lotus feet, Padambuja, will bear the marks of the lotus flower. Padma Mudra, Padambuja. So, very beautifully, this verse describes about the activities and the personal, beautiful characteristics of Kapila Muni. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the activities and the bodily features of Kapila Muni are very beautifully explained here. The activity is he will present the philosophy of Sankhya. And the Sankhya is not the impersonalistic Sankhya, but the Sankhya is to engage in devotional service. That we will see later. Otherwise, one cannot get out of knowledge, out of this mundane world entanglement without the perfect knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada says further that, the perfect knowledge is application of devotional service in one's life, which can very easily uproot the deep-rooted desire for fruitive activities. Okay, so work means here the fruitive activities. So jnana, sometimes people have this misunderstanding that jnana means mundane research work. Prabhupada says no. Jnana doesn't mean the mundane research work. Jnana means receiving knowledge from the disciplic succession. And vijnana means practical application of knowledge and realizing that knowledge. And Kapila Muni is going to speak both jnana, vijnana yogena. He is going to speak the knowledge and the practical realization of that knowledge. That is nothing but the process of devotional service. So very beautiful verse. Very similar verse is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Akrishnam, Sangopangastra Parshadam, Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai, Yajantihi Sumedasah. So this is the verse where activities and the bodily features are very beautifully given. Krishna Varnam, he will be constantly chanting the names of Krishna. Tvisha Akrishnam, his skin color, his color of his body will be Akrishnam, will be golden. Here we see that, Hiranyakesha. Sangopangastra Parshadam, he will come down with his Sanga Upanga Parshadam. Yagyai Sankirtana Praye, he will inaugurate the Sankirtana Yagya. Yajantihi Sumedasaha, and very intelligent people will be engaged in devotional service. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrit jai. Thank you. Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Bye.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhu, your voice is very less. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu, my curious question. Like this shloka which you just now said about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we treat that as an incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How does other sampradayas treat this verse? I mean, what do they say about this verse? Prabhu, I can't hear you.
Yeah. So maybe some connectivity issue. We will continue tomorrow.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.